Hey everyone, it's Tracy Martirana here from Holistic Wellness with Tracy. Welcome into my kitchen. Today I wanted to share with you 5 quick and easy, but also fairly healthy breakfast ideas. So I'm starting with a super simple one, and that is avocado toast. You simply make some toast and then add some smushed avocado on top. It really doesn't get any easier than that. You can mush the avocado ahead of time, but I usually just slice it, place the slices on the toast, squish it down with a fork, and then add whatever toppings sound good to you. This is a great breakfast on its own, but it also pairs well with an egg, or I actually like to have salad for breakfast sometimes. So I'll make a salad, put a fried egg on top, and then have a piece of avocado toast on the side, and it is delicious. Next, I'm making quiche muffins. Now, I love these because you can make them on the weekend, make a bunch of them, have them in your fridge, and they make a great grab and go breakfast. I just start with whatever veggies I want and have. Here I had onion, red bell pepper, I had some broccoli, and a little bit of olive because I like olives in my eggs. They add a nice little salty bite. I am making 6 muffins, so I think I did 5 or 6 eggs. I'm adding a little garlic powder, a little salt and pepper. You can add some Italian seasoning to flavor up your eggs, whatever you want. And then just so they fluff up a little bit, I add a 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder and like a tablespoon and a half of flour. Now you can easily double this recipe and do a full muffin pan. Like I said, I'm only doing 6 here because there's only 2 of us that are going to be eating them, but you could easily make more. And then oddly, I couldn't find my muffin pan when I went to make these, so I used my popover pan, which is very similar. You can see it's just a little bit different. I don't know, they're a little bit taller, meant for popovers instead of muffins, but it works just fine. I'm just greasing the wells really well. That's funny. I'm greasing them and then I'm just adding in my veggies, just sort of dividing everything between the 6 wells that I'm going to fill with eggs. And then once I get my veggies in there, I'm just pouring in the eggs. Now you can see it's a little bit lumpy, and that is just the flour that didn't break up. I really probably should have done the flour and maybe just a little bit of water first, but they baked up fine. It wasn't an issue. I put them in the oven. When they're done, I just pull them out, stick them in a container, have them in my fridge, and you can just grab one as a nice quick little breakfast or a snack. And then overnight oats is another favorite of mine, again, because you can make it ahead of time and have it just waiting in your fridge to grab whenever you want it. I often make them in these individual mason jars, but you can also just make one big batch in one large covered jar, and then you can just scoop out your daily helping. I do about a 1/2 cup of oats, and then a 1/2 cup of milk per serving, maybe a little extra splash of milk if you like it a little more liquidy. I'm using almond milk here, but you can use whatever kind of milk you happen to have in your fridge at the time. Sometimes I use almond milk, sometimes I use oat milk, sometimes I use dairy milk. Like, it comes out great no matter what. I like to add a little bit of cinnamon to mine just because I think it makes it taste good. And then I stir it around so the oatmeal is like not in one big glob, so it's actually going to be able to absorb all of the milk. And then I top it with some fresh berries, or you could use frozen berries. You can add nuts, whatever sounds good to you. Even chia seeds are really good in here. And then you just pop this in the fridge, let it sit overnight, and in the morning you have a nice oatmeal. And if you don't like cold oatmeal, you can always pop it in the microwave to warm it up a little bit. But I really like cold oatmeal, especially in the summer. And then I make my own homemade yogurt, and I will link to a video below on how I do that. But here I thought I would show you how to make a cute little yogurt parfait. Now I'm doing it in this glass. You could do it in a mason jar. Really, you could just even do it in a bowl if you don't really care about how it looks. It's still just equally as delicious whether you can see all the layers or not. So I start with a layer of yogurt. I add in a little bit of my homemade elderberry syrup, and then scoop in some thawed, this is actually thawed, frozen thawed. It's berries. Anyways, scooping in a little bit of that, and then topping it with, this is some overnight oats that I made in like just a large bowl, like I mentioned in the previous recipe, that you can make overnight oats in one container and then just scoop out what you want. And then I just layer this in. All right, that didn't look so appetizing, but I promise you it is delicious. And then I'm just going to repeat all the layers, doing more yogurt, more elderberry syrup, more berries, and then topping it with some slivered almonds just for a nice bit of texture. Yummy, delicious. You could almost even have this for dessert. And maybe when you make it, you won't be quite as messy as I was. And then I'm making sort of a veggie scramble. So this isn't necessarily a breakfast that you're going to take on the go, but it is fairly quick and easy and nice and healthy. So I start with just lots of veggies, whatever you have on hand. Again, I had onion, pepper, and broccoli. If you have other things, feel free to add them in. I am going to also add some spinach once this cooks down. So I just start with these veggies, cooking them in some olive oil, a little salt and pepper. I am adding in some basil because I do really love basil, and this is dried basil, which dried or fresh, both actually taste really good with eggs. And I'm just going to let these simmer down a little bit, soften, and then I'm adding in a bunch of spinach, and I'll let that sort of wilt in. So it doesn't take a lot of time, just a little bit of chopping. And then after that, it comes together fairly quickly. The spinach has now wilted, so I'm giving it a nice stir around, and then I'm just going to create sort of a well in the middle, add a little more oil, and then pop in a couple eggs and just start scrambling them. And then slowly, as I scramble the eggs, I'll bring the veggies in. So really it ends up being like a big serving of veggies with just enough egg in it to sort of, I don't know, kind of hold it together a little bit. It's not like an omelet. It's much less eggier than that. The vegetables really get to shine. This meal is definitely more about the veggies and less about the eggs, but you could add more eggs if you want it to be a little more egg forward, or you want a little more protein. You could double up and do 2 eggs per serving. Here I'm doing just 1. And then it cooks up and comes together pretty quickly, and then I just like to serve it with a side of toast. Easy peasy, very yummy, and very good for you. Stick around. At the end of this video, you'll find links to several other wonderful videos so that you can find more recipes, more herbal remedies. You can find everything you need. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Tracy Martirana, and I use my knowledge of nutrition, Ayurveda, herbal remedies, yoga, meditation, everything you need to live a healthy, happy, and balanced life.